talking about these upgrade projects on the 600, the 750, the 3,000 gallon. Well, finally we're getting it done today. So we're going to start with the 600 gallon Asian Jungle Aquarium lighting upgrade. We know that I put some strip lights on there, and I was drastically overestimating what they could do on a 600 gallon aquarium. So what did I do? I added a few more. Smaller ones, of course, because that makes sense, right? No, that didn't work. It's still not enough. It's 600 gallons. It's too much for these lights that were meant to go on 75 gallons or 125s or whatever. You know, it's just asking too much. No matter how many you pile on there, it's not going to work. So we're going custom, right? Custom tank, custom lights. It only makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you the tank first. And so we'll see what the current lighting looks like, because you can't compare unless you get a fresh look at what does it look like now. And then I'll show you the lighting project that I'm working on. We'll get it installed. We'll see what it looks like afterwards. And then I'll give you an update on everything that's going on in the aquarium. There's been a lot of growth in the fish. There's a lot going on. We'll just cover everything. But I figure before we do that, we'll go ahead and see if we can give these shy discus some food. See if they'll eat, Okay, we all know how shy discus are, so let's see with the camera in their face. Let's see if they would be willing to eat some food. Oh wow, yeah, looks like they're willing to eat it right out of my hand. Just kidding, we all know these guys aren't shy, but I mean, I expected them to do well in the tank and feel comfortable right away, but they've exceeded that expectation. Like I said before, they seem to act like they've lived here a long time, day one, and it's only gotten better and better, eating out of my hand. I swear they've grown. I mean, it's like, what is it, a couple of weeks, or not even 2 weeks. It's 8 days, 9 days since the video on these guys. And I think they've grown. I'm not kidding. So yeah, I think they've grown. I think their colors are darkening in the right way. They're not turning black, but the bright colors of the fish are starting to come out more down, especially the blues, and some of these guys that the day one were, maybe a little more shy than the other guys. They've all come out of their shell. Everyone's just really starting to show their colors. Of course, they're pigs. I mean, they're really serious pigs. I can't imagine if I was running these guys at 84, 86 degrees, how much they would be wanting to be eating, considering what they're doing at 80. Normally, like I said, the tank would be 75, but it's almost July, and my fish room heats up a little bit in the summertime. So it runs 79, 80 in a lot of tanks in the summertime, and it runs 76, 77 in the wintertime. Of course, if I want to have a tank run a little warmer, I can do that, but that's just kind of the way it works when you're heating a big open space. Also depends where you are in the space. Certain places stay warmer than other places. I chose the discus. They're on an interior wall, so this is one of the warmest spots in the basement. Also has all of my computer equipment here to the right, so putting out heat. So this is the best spot for discus, and so far so good. All right, let's get into this lighting upgrade. Okay, so before we look at the new lights and do the new light install, we have to look at the current lights and the current state of the 600 gallon, so we have a good comparison after we put the new lights on, and we see if it achieves what's desired. So the 600 is a good one to start with because it has a darker substrate. So the 750, even though it is also deficient in lighting, because it has a white sand substrate, it looks brighter than the 600 does. So I think this is the tank that's really going to show a big difference with the new lights, because the dark substrate and all the dark wood and rock. So we should see the biggest bang for the buck with the upgrade for this aquarium. But again, just, we need to be able to compare. We have to see what it looks like now. And just for anyone who hasn't seen, we're basically replacing these lights up here, which, again, there's nothing wrong with these strip lights. I'm just asking way too much for them on a 600 gallon aquarium. We're 6 feet long, and we're 4 feet front to back, and we're 3 feet tall. So it's a lot to ask for those strip lights. Even though I originally started with 3, I added 3 more smaller units, still not enough. So we're going to repurpose those lights for future builds, and we're going to do some custom lighting for the 600 gallon for today. So this is just a quick look at the tank. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the new lights and get them on here, and then we'll go through and we'll talk about what's going on with all the fish and the whole tank is in general. Okay, so you can see the construction zone here on the other side of the fish basement. We got the new tops for the 3,000 gallon, the precursor to the arowanas. And over here, all of these guys are the braces for the lights for the 600 and the 750, and then here's one with the lights on it. So you can see that what I've done is I have these pendant lights just strapped to the frame. So this gives me some flexibility. So just by strapping them on there, it's easy to replace them. So this is 100 watt, that's a 50 watt, and that's 100 watt. And you know, I think that's going to be what I want, but in case it's not, I can just clip these off and replace them. Let's say, you know, replace them with other ones. So let's say I want to put 100 watt in the middle, clip that off, put the 100 watt on there. And then also I'll clip all the cords down for nice cable management, you know, probably around the back, even though you don't really see it, just to keep it neat. So we'll do that. There's plenty of cable ties down there. So obviously I will, you know, clip off the ends here, make it nice and clean. But this will be the first strip, and the plan is 2 strips for each tank. I think it's definitely plenty for the 600 gallon because it's 4 feet front to back. So with that 2 foot spacing with these lights, that should be good, especially because in the front of the tank we have all those crypts and everything. We don't need nearly as strong a light down there. We're going to be focused more towards the back and the middle, so much more than the front. Now on the 750, that's 5 feet front to back, so 2 may not be enough, but the reason I think it will be is because on the 750, the front of the tank doesn't have much plants or anything like that. That's the open space where I feed all those big cichlids. And I gave away a little bit of what's going into that video, but there's been some changes with that tank, you know, which is fine. It's what cichlids do. They tell you, you have good ideas, and they tell you how it's really going to be. So let's go ahead and get these lights, get the other ones set up, and then get them back on the 600 gallon, and let's see how they do. Okay, as promised, we're going to take a look at the tank right after the new lights have been turned on. So it's been about 5 minutes since the lights have been on, and let's go see A, how it looks, and B, how are the fish reacting. Okay, first of all, let's jump up top. So those are the new lights. As you can see, quite a bit different looking than the old ones. We got the frames up there and the lights hanging down, and I got all the cords kind of strapped up there. Mostly, there'll be a little more cord management to go, but they're out of the way for now. One thing you can see is that the lights, they're not connected, they're just sitting there. So I can move them forward and backward, and I can also move the lights side to side, because within those straps they have room to go side to side, and the whole lights can move forward or back. And here we are just sort of looking from the side. You can see one's mostly towards the back there, and then we're kind of a little in front of middle, and then the front is kind of open. So what that translates into for the tank is this. I would say it is much brighter than previous lights. I mean, it's more lights. Well, it's the same amount of lights, but it's more wattage. So that is to be expected. Definitely happy so far. For example, you can see in the back there, you couldn't see that whole wood tree there in the back, versus now you can, as well as over to this side. Up in those back corners, there was definitely not enough light. So that's a big improvement. Probably be some adjustment as far as sliding the lights around a little bit, but overall, yeah, pretty good. And if anything, I might even go a little brighter, so I could always take those 50s out of the middles and put 100s in there. We'll see. You know, part 1 of this is what it looks like to my eye, and then part 2 is how the plants respond to it. So I don't like to make too much change too quickly. You got to give the tank time to adjust to anything you do to really get the true results. So you know, me mucking around in here and everything, it's gonna take a second just to get used to it. So in terms of the fish, they don't seem overly bothered by it. I would say the only fish that seemed to be startled by me messing around up there and changing all the lights around was the clown loaches. Normally they swim right out here in the middle. They're crazy. They don't ever hide really. They're always out and about. Just kind of like the other fish in this tank, being that there's so much aquascape for them to go wherever they want, to retreat if they feel threatened. So they've been out and about. But changing the lights did cause the clown loaches to go hide somewhere. So what I'm thinking is, let's throw some food in here, and we'll see if that's enough to entice the clown loaches to come back out, because they've already put on some size. Those are the guys. There's a few fish I want to show you that have put on size, but the clown loaches are the ones that have put on the most size. So it kind of sucks that they're the ones that are hiding after the light change. So let's see if we can bring them out. Okay, I wanted to feed right up here in the front, try to draw them out closest to the front glass. Of course, food kind of blows everywhere, but hopefully a nice big feeding will get these guys out there. That's like, the Panagar, there's actually a handful of Panagar. They're quite fat. You don't always see them, but actually kind of looks like a snow globe right now with all the food. Actually, that's one thing I'm noticing is, so the water column is lit up so much more than with the other lights. Like, it's the same amount of food that I always feed these guys, and they polish this off in no time. But it looks like so much more with the water column all lit up like it is. I think that's probably the biggest thing I noticed. And also, up in the corners, there's no dark spots. There used to be serious dark spots in the corners before. Now, with these lights being more elevated, that's gotten rid of that. So it's more evenly dispersing the light. That's the other thing I'm noticing about this. So if you recall, remember I had like the gold barbs were absolutely tiny, and the new gold barbs, they've grown a ton. So that's the old guy, the old one, the big one, and then you can see the other guys. They're halfway caught up. Also the rainbow sharks, there was all kinds of tiny little skinny rainbows, and you can see now they're getting quite thick. Some of these ones here, he's not an old timer and he's already pretty thick. And the rainbows, we see these guys in the front here. There's two different types of rainbows, and they've all put on a lot of size. I mean, when I first got them, they were the size of the Rasbora there, the Harlequins, and now they're obviously quite a bit larger. So that is definitely cool. The tiger barbs were already pretty much full size. Same with most of the Grami. And the Denison barbs are actually one of the ones that I'm surprised they haven't grown more. I've had some really large Denison barbs in the past, but I did have them for a long time, so maybe they're slow growers, but given time they can get quite large. And then as far as the plant growth goes, very minimal, pretty much the same new sprouts we saw last time, just a few here and there. Somehow a piece of Pogo stellata octopus was still in the tank, and it managed to grow because that's what it does. You can't stop that stuff. So I'm really hoping that we get some serious plant growth now that we've upgraded the lights. That's going to be the big thing, because you can't call it an Asian jungle aquarium without the jungle. So we got to get that going. But definitely, oh man, the back corner, like you can see, there's a good foot that you really couldn't see, foot in depth that you really couldn't see that well before with the old lights. All that whole tree trunk back there that you got the gourami just swimming out of it. I mean, that's a pretty big fish to just swim out of an area back there that you couldn't even see before, and now you can. And it also kind of makes me want to build up the left side, the root all the way out of the water, and maybe build this up out of the water too. I like that coming down. Maybe even in the middle of the aquarium there, maybe I'll build some root going up. That would look pretty cool, actually. Picture like a bunch of Malaysian root like that, but over here, maybe in the middle, have it come down and sort of go that way and go that way, and then have the plants in front of it. That could be pretty cool. Have that grow up. That's definitely an idea. So in terms of first reaction, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in now, definitely it's the water column lit up, and I am happy with the amount of light. I can see actually the back of the tank a lot better. Now the question is, like I said, just how does it translate to the plants? And I just spotted one of the clown loaches out there in the middle, so good to see that they were a little bit spooked by the new lights, but nothing too crazy. Hopefully I can catch him. I don't know if I caught him on camera, so I'd like to catch him. Oh, there he is. Just one of the clown loaches. Now that's not the one that's grown the most, but he's put on a little size, but there's a couple of them. Like out of the group of 8, there's 2 of them that have just like really put on the size. It's been impressive. I guess I shouldn't expect the bright lights not to distract these guys some, but oh, you can see the clown loaches. They're going in and out of the caves there. So, they're coming out for the food, but they're actually going back into the cave. So you can tell the lights, it's going to take them a minute to adjust to the lights. Now, hopefully, because before, with the old lights, the clown loaches were out all the time. I mean, all the time. And I always attributed that just to the aquascape of the tank and everything like that, and all the other fish. Like I know always your ground fish, fish that are closer to the substrate, they always appreciate these guys, these schooling fish up here, because they use them as sort of a first alert system. So if these guys all dart, and go crazy, then the guys down here know something's going on up above, and I can, shelter in there, and it's easy for them to keep tabs of these schools above them. So that could also be a factor. So we'll see what it does. adding the brighter light. You know, how does that affect how much the clown loach come out? So I'm hoping it's just a temporary effect, and that they'll continue to be out all the time, because they're awesome fish. And you know, as much, you know, I built these big caves for them because I want to be comfortable, but I also want to see them too. Okay, so as much as you can call something success after only 10 minutes of the tank being this way, I'm going to call this an initial success. Definitely happy with the color, temperature, the lighting of the water column, and now we'll see how the plants respond to it. So the next update on the Asian Jungle Aquarium here will definitely be plant focused, because we want to actually make this a jungle. It's been a couple months now, it's not a jungle, it's time to make it a jungle. We're going to get it done. So so good first start. Let's see how it works out. So we know coming up, we're going to do the same treatment to the 750 gallon, and from what I've seen on here, probably I might, you know, make a couple adjustments on how I do these. I'm going to do the same, you know, the same lighting bars, same lights. I might just do a little bit different configuration. You know, you learn a little bit each time you do it, so you tweak, always tweaking, right? So we'll see with the 750 Amazonian Islands build, because it wasn't nearly as dark as this aquarium because of the light substrate, and it is more, the plant growth is more clustered to those islands, and actually it's going to be even more so than before, and I'll get into that in that video. So definitely a little bit different plan maybe for how I arrange the lights on the 750, but we'll get that done. And you saw that I painted the beams and everything, so for the 3,000 gallon, they just have to be installed. Heck, they might even be installed by the time you see this video. So that's going to get exciting, because we're really getting the 3,000 gallon looking great again, and with the new setup on the tops and everything like that, it opens us up for arowana. So that's pretty exciting times coming for that. And for you saltwater guys, there is a saltwater video coming. Probably, I don't know how to sort out, because I'm kind of working on it now. Is the low-tech reef getting merged into the 600 reef slope, that whole configuration. Actually, I'm going to make some changes to the 700 gallon sump and the 1500 gallon system. So a lot going on there. It'll be cool. You'll see in the video. But I got good idea for that, and I think I have a pretty interesting idea for the remake of the 150, and definitely it's a tank where it's just going to be a bunch of fish that quasi go together. Let's say that, you know, they're New World fish, all New World fish, but not all Amazon fish. But they're all fish I really like, I want to keep. It's just one of those tanks where it doesn't fit necessarily a specific part of the world, but it's fish I want to keep that will work together. So, but I have a pretty neat idea for the aquascape in there, so I'm looking forward to that as well. All in all, a lot going on, a lot to look forward to. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.